Okay, so now it's time to work on the invaders, or our starfish sprite. So we're going to select our starfish sprite to activate him, and first thing we need to do is add our events and when flag clicked. Again, he's quite large, so we're going to go into the looks and we're going to set the size to 33%. We also want this one to hide when we start the game. Again, using the same code from a star, we're going to create some clones. But this time, when we create a clone, we want lots of these, so we want this to happen throughout the game. So we're going to put that inside a forever loop. So forever while the game runs, it's going to create a clone of itself. We also want to put a little delay in there so we don't get thousands of them all at once. So one every 1 second. So let's drag it under here so that this code is executed when the flag is clicked. Now we need to set some behavior when each star or each invader starts as a clone. So we'll drag that when I start as a clone code out. And this time we don't want them all to be pink. We're going to add something a little bit different. So under the looks, we're going to find the set color effect, and we don't want it all to be the same color effect, so under the operators we'll choose this pick random, and we're going to say pick a random color effect between 1 to 200. We also need to make sure we go into looks and show our invader, so when it starts as a clone we want him to appear, and we also want each invader to start at a different spot along the top of the screen. So under the motion we're going to find a go to block, and we need another operator, pick a random. So for our x coordinate, which is from the left to right of the screen, we want it to start anywhere between -200, which is our far left of the screen, to +200. So it can be anywhere from around here to around here. For our y, our height, we want each one to start at the exact same height up the top. We don't really want this to be random, so we can enter a firm number in here. In this case, let's go with 143. And let's test that out. So hit the green flag, and you can see there our invaders are doing as we expected. They're all different colors. They're appearing on the same row up the top in random positions. So the next thing we need to do is add some code so that when we hit the invader, we get some points. So under control, we need a forever block, so we want this to happen the whole time the game is running, and an if block. In this case, there's two things that could happen. If the spaceship has hit the star, something could happen. If not, we want something else. So we're going to do a if then else block. So our test this time would be a touching. So I'm going to say if the starfish is touching our bullet, which is the star 2 sprite, we want a variable change. So we're going to change our score variable by 1. So we're going to get 1 point every time the bullet hits the starfish. Under control, we need to delete this clone so that every time a bullet hits a starfish we get a point and it disappears. So now we're testing if we're hitting the starfish with our bullet and deleting it. We need to also have another test. So if this starfish is hitting the edge, so down the bottom here, it might have dropped to the bottom, we also need it to delete. So we can grab another if then else block and drag that inside our else. And this time we're going to test to see if it's touching the edge, and if it is touching the edge, under control we're going to delete this clone. Else we want the spaceship to move down, so change y by And we don't want him to come 10 points at a time because that'll be a little bit too fast. We want to change by -2. So what this is doing again is checking to see if the starfish is touching star 2, which is our bullet, and if that's the case we're going to get 1 added to our score and then it will be deleted. If it is not touching the bullet, it's going to check if it's touching the edge. So if it's touching the edge down the bottom, it will delete. If it's not touching the edge or touching a bullet, it's going to change the y coordinate by -2, so continually fall down. So now we need to go and do another test. So this is test 5 in our work booklet, and that's to see if our code is working as intended. So let's do the test. So press the green flag to start. My invaders are falling. I'm able to shoot them and they disappear. When they hit the bottom of the screen, they are disappearing. And the last thing to test is what happens when they hit the spaceship. So let's go through them now, and our game's not ending. I can keep going forever and I basically am invulnerable. So we need to fix that up to add a bit more challenge to our game. So let's have a look at our original code. If you remember back on our spaceship, we had our code here says if it's touching the starfish, so if our spaceship is touching the invader, it's going to broadcast game over. But we haven't added anything into the code that says when I receive the broadcast game over to do something. So let's go to our events and drag out the block that says when I receive game over. So when I receive game over, go to looks, I'm going to give a message, and the message will be game over, and it's going to say game over for 2 seconds. Next thing I want is some code that stops all. So that's going to stop absolutely everything in the game. So now let's complete test 6. So what should happen now is when we play our game and our spaceship is hit by an invader, it should end. So press the green flag to start, and let's let our spaceship get hit. And you can see there that after the 2 seconds of it being hit, the game has ended. So that completes the basic Space Invader game, and it's ready to be remixed and turned into something that's a little bit more challenging and exciting.